Our stories, our village, South Roxana TV. As residents along Indiana Avenue woke up to an unexpected water main break that left part of the street closed and crews hard at work. For Ron and Colton, who handle these repairs for our village, it was just another day on the job. They've tackled situations like this many times before. In tonight's story, we'll show you what happened on Indiana. Well, as you can see, it takes a little bit to get set up. They have to drive the excavator to the location, and then their little ambulance-looking truck that has all the parts and stuff in it. And TJ drove that excavator all the way over there, and then Ron will get in it and get it set up in the exact correct position so that we don't do as little damage to the yard as possible. Obviously, you're digging a trench, you're gonna damage a little bit, but they did a really good job at trying to take care of things. So, as we're gonna see here in a minute, Colton is gonna direct TJ in with the truck. I'm like, what is he doing with the truck? So I asked, and they put the dirt in the truck. I thought they would have just piled it on the side somewhere and put the dirt back in the hole, but that's not how it goes. As I watched them dig this up and put all the dirt in the truck, TJ made several trips to unload the dirt, and I didn't realize why that they had to do this, but it'll soon become clear. As they're digging, you'll notice that they pull some big chunks of dirt and rock, and looked like there was some old sewer pipe that was made out of clay or something. So they're not going to need that dirt to fill the hole back in. Matter of fact, probably would not be good to put that dirt back in. So I know what they did is when they drove the excavator over, it had a whole bucket load of sand in it so that they could put sand back in the hole once they repaired the pipe. That way the sand kind of keeps stuff from rubbing up against the pipe. Like you could see there was a lot of stuff in there that as cars went over and stuff like that and the ground shifted, it's not good for our pipes. So they take great care in putting this thing back together so we don't have problems.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a really big hole, but obviously the pipe is not that big. I'm thinking, why do they got to build a hole this big? And another thing, that when they first got there, they tried to walk around and figure out from where the water was blowing out of the ground where the actual pipe or the leak in the pipe was. You could tell where the pipe was because they had it marked. That's something interesting I didn't know. They can't dig until all the lines and pipes and gas lines and stuff are marked, because you could really cause a lot of damage by digging into a gas line. Wouldn't be good. Here we see that there's another excavator came in, a lot smaller excavator. The big excavator's good, but the little one really helps out. And I'm like, why are you using this little excavator? And one of the reasons is they can feel things. He can feel stuff in those handles as he's digging, so he can stop, and it's I guess not as good as doing it with a hand shovel, but he can tell what's going on. So that's why they bring in this little excavator, and it makes less of a mess. And we see it was a constant Colton in and out of this hole looking, he's using that little, they have a probe, and they kind of probe looking for that leak. He doesn't have the probe in there right now, but he'll get down there in a shovel, and he's just looking and feeling around, seeing if they can find the pipe. It's definitely not easy. It was hot and miserable out there, and those two guys, they were pretty non-stop when they're digging and doing stuff. Of course, there's times when the excavator's digging that everybody's just watching, but they stayed pretty busy the whole time. I was just amazed. As you see, there's a blue mark on the grass there. That blue mark is the marking from they had it marked, and that the blue indicates a water line. So Ron would get down there when Colton felt like he's not getting as far as he wants. He'd have Ron get down there and double check, make sure that maybe he'd see something that he wasn't seeing. And the ground around this leak was extremely soft. He walked across the grass there for a minute, and there it is, right there. And I'm like, okay, let's get away from the grass. It's nothing but water under it. And it's really hard for them to find it. And where they actually started digging is not where the leak actually was. And by all indications, the leak was right there where the yellow thing is. But that wasn't the case. And of course, then they drained the water out. That's something else that I found out too that was very interesting. They keep the water running, and I had to ask, why is it you keep the water running? And he says, well, if we shut the water down, then we have to have a boil water, and everybody's got to boil their water, for so long till we get the water tested again. However, if they leave the water running and the leak is, keeping the pipes clean because it's gushing out, we don't have to have a boil water. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they actually do it with the water on. I'm guessing if it was a bigger break, they might not be able to do that. But this was a fairly decent. That water you're seeing there is, I think, water that's actually coming out from the ground where it is heaped up under the ground, because that's not exactly where they found the leak. They went back a little further than that, and they found the leak. And here's TJ was nonstop taking the truck back and forth, emptying it out. So it really needs to be 3 people. A 2-people team slows things up quite a bit. And I noticed when if TJ wasn't doing that, they would have left just one man there. And I don't think they like to get in the trench when there's just one guy around. So that's probably a smart thing. They watch out for each other and see, even though you can go, I think, 5.5 feet down without putting in one of those special things, which obviously right there, he's not in any danger, but sure wouldn't be fun to have a little cave in. And that's him trying to find the pipe. And the other thing, with all the rock and other stuff in the ground, it made it really hard to actually find the pipe. And here we see Ron getting in to try to help out. They actually found that leak way up closer to where the excavator is. And now they're going to try to pump it out and see where things are. So it takes a considerable amount of time to even find the leak. So it's pretty amazing how this whole thing worked. And this was a good half a day. And that's where Ron's at right now, is where they actually found the leak. And you see the water gushing. Also notice, and it'll come up here in a minute, there were 2 other patches there. See that yellow thing? There's a patch there, and then there's another one. You can see the metal things that I label as a hidden one. So there was already 2 patches in this area that evidently had been there for a long time. So I think now, and this is Colton putting in the patch, and it's got rubber around it, and it's got 2 bolts that slip on. You got to get it around it, and then you tighten up those bolts, and it patches the pipe. Now, like I said, if they were to have to cut out a huge piece of pipe and make a splice, they would have had to turn off all the water. So then that means everybody in town is going to, well, I don't know how many people. I didn't ask that question. But surely many people would be without water. So this is really the best way to do it, by doing it with the water, running. we don't inconvenience people, and we don't have to have a boil order. That's a pretty big deal. I'd also like to make a special note. There was a guy that lived right across the street from where this break was, and he got out there with a shovel and made sure that the water that was draining could get all the way down to the, there was a drainage ditch down there, or a drainage area, a drain, and it kind of got clogged up. And he went down there and unclogged that and kept that water running. So he helped out a bunch. So it was really good to see somebody who lives in the area getting out there and helping out. You know, it wasn't a big deal. He wasn't in the ditch. He wasn't getting dirty. But he did what he could do to help these guys out. And, well, he's also helped himself out because now we don't have all this water flooding in yards and stuff. So we were able to get that done. And I'm not sure what that patch is called, but I do know it's a pretty amazing thing. Also, when they got finished with this patch, another leak sprung up over there to the right of Cody. So they had to do another patch. So that's something that doesn't happen very often, I'm told, but it did happen. So they had to fix another one. My battery on my cameras died sometime after this, so I lost my video. Also, I've got that little time lapse running for you to see how this was going. Hey, if you want to be involved in South Roxana TV, let me know. If you have something you want me to try to cover and learn more about, I'll be glad to try to do it. If you just want to help out in some way, maybe even doing a voiceover. You don't have to be on screen, or if you want to help edit, all these things can be done and would be really helpful. But I've enjoyed doing this one, and I hope to be able to do many more of these so that I can try to help understand how everything works around here at South Roxana. Thanks to Ron Colton, hey, and the mayor, TJ, and also the board member, Terry Chester. The entire team just worked so hard at keeping our water service running smoothly. And thank you for joining us as we take a closer look at behind-the-scenes work that helps keep South Roxana moving. Stay with us for more stories about our village right here on South Roxana TV.